Let's try this again.
was headed into town, hoping you would be around. Impatient as I am, waited just to meet your eyes in passing again. And when I could see the end. I'm no sailor, you're no silver dove. So are we to try to navigate the rocky seas of a stolen love? I believe I've seen.
Well, pretty soon, no one's gonna go outside, no one's gonna take it in, no one's gonna feel alright. And pretty soon, all the pretty things are gonna pass away. Well, they'll all take flight, and we'll all be there, sitting on a comfy couch, watching it all go by, wishing we could figure it out. But then we'll sit back down and never wonder how we let the real world destroy itself. Someday soon, we'll all come back behind a flash of light and a fiery crash, and the circle will repeat itself till the stars above turn inside out.
Any pottery questions? Is pottery an expensive hobby? Probably. This is a full-time gig for me, so I have more equipment than most hobby potters, but yeah, it takes a lot of equipment to make pottery. Any other questions out there? Do I mean to cut it twice? Everything I'm doing, I mean to do. Yeah, cutting it twice is a technique that helps with the drying process. It's kind of hard to describe. But I'm working on a video that describes it. Why do I bring the clay up, then back down? Compression. Helps to compress the clay and avoid cracking.
There are people, there are places which I may have to lose. I'll accept the fact that they are gone and that I had to choose. That I had to choose.
What music is playing, it's always in the title of the video. It's all original. This song's by Paul Spring. Why don't you just use electric wheel? Why don't you just use proper grammar? Sorry about that. Kick wheels are part of traditional styles of pottery making. I like being part of that lineage. These wheels have been used for over 1,000 years. In all different parts of the world. And I like using my whole body to make pottery instead of just letting the motor take the work. I think it looks different. It's a little more expressive when the wheel spins slowly.
To hold on to, flames to guide me through a flickering truth.
So I feel like I have more control using a kick wheel. But it took a long time to learn. It's harder to learn.
Stepped into the dark. Their lights could not sustain me.
What's the stick thing you were poking in the mug? It's a measurement tool.
But there's a warmth that still
It measures the height and the width in one motion. So I'm putting it in and trying not to touch the mug at all.
I can always hope some beauty will come out of a loss. Will come out of.
How do I do the spirals? Can't really describe with words. Best way to learn would be to watch my hands and try to copy. That's how I learned to do it. I copied the motions of Richard Bresnahan and kind of made it my own. He used a tool when he made his, but I just studied and practiced. Any other pottery questions? What is the fabric I use around the top? It's not fabric, it's a piece of chamois cloth. It's a piece of leather.
Who I met in the wrong place at the wrong time. I was doomed to leave her without warning.
How long have I been doing this? About 12 years.
While she and her beauty must wait behind.
Sorry, we're streaming on Facebook and on Periscope and on YouTube, so there's a lot of questions.
With her bare feet
How
on
many
the
pieces do I make a day? Depends on the day, usually 40, 50. Do I still have the first mug I made? I doubt it. But I do have some early pots of various types. How long have I been doing pottery profession-wise? Almost 8 years. is my best advice for someone starting out at pottery. Take a class. Take as many classes as you can. How long from start to finish does the process of making one mug take? 1 to 2 months. Depends on the mug. Some mugs take over 6 months to a year to create, but my process is about 1 month, and then I get like a couple hundred pots out. About how long does it take to dry? Depends on humidity, but in my studio, about 2 or 3 days. If I have a store, it's always in the title of the video. Do I have an apprentice? No. I just work by myself. Does it dry out your hands? Not really. If you make a lot of pots, it definitely can. Do other members of my family also do pottery? No. Sometimes if I make the spiral too dramatic, the mugs will collapse. It might collapse, we'll see. Gravity's pulling it down, but it might be okay. Any other pottery questions? Have I ever added a loved one's ashes into my own pieces? No, but I did make my grandpa's urn. It was buried in it. And I use wood ashes in my pottery, so yeah, you can use ashes in pottery. Is it expensive to get into this? Yeah, typically, unless you take a class, depending on where you take it. I always recommend people take classes locally if they want to get their hands muddy. Any other pottery questions? Does the pottery smell when you're making it? No. Sometimes the clay will mold. Old clay will start to mold, and it gets more stretchy when it starts to mold too. So you want the clay to be aged, but it'll grow mold and start to smell a little bit, depending on the type of clay. But my clay is typically not around long enough for that to happen. How long does it take to master it? A lifetime. I still haven't mastered pottery. Not sure if that's possible. What made me start pottery? A class in high school. Assignments in high school. Do I make other things? Yes, I do. Clay do I use in a year? I don't know, 10,000, somewhere around there. Somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 pounds. Can you dye your clay? Dye to clay, make the clay different colors. Dye would just burn away. Colors come from metals typically, because the clay's got to get fired to 2,400 degrees. So like the colors in this shirt that I'm wearing don't have to get fired, and you can't put it in a dishwasher. It doesn't have to be food safe. So for clay, the coffee mugs have to be safe in the dishwasher. So color typically comes from metal, like cobalt, browns from iron, things like that.
was an unfeeling machine.
Pottery questions? Do I ever post live videos of me making large bowls or vases? Yeah. I've got hundreds of videos. Just subscribe to this page. Or on YouTube, there's a bunch of videos. But my job is to be a production potter, so I make similar types of pottery over and over again in repetition. It's most of what I do. Okay, got some more clay I'm gonna grab really quick. Any other pottery questions? Electric kiln, gas, or wood. Those are three typical types of kilns. There are oil kilns as well, or pit burning kilns, but I use an electric kiln. Nice shirt. The shirt is a painting by Vincent van Gogh. What kind of clay do I prefer using? Stoneware. Can I only make cups or can I make other things? I can make all different types of pottery, but right now I'm working on cosmic mugs. Do I use a manual wheel for more control? That's part of it. I've been making pottery for years, and I feel like I have more control with this wheel for the type of art that I make. Why do I have to pat it down when I first put it on the wheel? To hand center the clay to get it roughly centered down here, and to get the lump, the big hump of clay to stick properly. Do I make bowls? All the time. But right now I'm making mugs. Part of being a potter includes discipline to learn how to make the same type of pottery over and over again so you can make enough to make a living. How much clay is this? Why so much? Usually I throw about 25 pounds at a time. This is probably about 30. And that's so I don't have to get up from the wheel to measure out different balls of clay. I don't have to get up as often to make as many balls of clay. I can just keep going until the clay is done. Do I make my own stoneware? I don't. I buy my clay right now, but that's so I can Starry Night Vincent van Gogh. It's actually Starry Night over Rhone. It's a specific, different painting than the Starry Night that's most popular. It's in New York City right now. But I don't make my own clay. I make my own glazes. Buying my clay and simplifying that process has helped me to get more technical with glaze colors. There's a whole chemistry to glazing. And my sculptures finished for the craft council. They are. I'll do a live video where the sculptures are from the office, maybe later this week. I'll probably do it on Patreon first. Start to show the sculptures there, because yeah, they look pretty sweet. They're big. How many mugs will I get out of this clay? We'll see. Stick around, you'll find out. I don't really know. Have I ever injured myself on the wheel? Twice. I've thrown my back out. I've thrown my back out from the combination of throwing pottery and lifting, setting up at a show and taking down. You might think hands, you get problems with the carpal tunnel or something, but really lower back is more important to take care of. I've known a lot of potters that have problems with their lower back. One way to avoid that is to throw standing up, but I've never seen a kick wheel that operates that way. So the reason I work off of this big mound and on a kick wheel is because it forces me to thinking about my posture more. Even with a standing wheel, you can be bent over a lot, although you do get to use your legs as leverage. If I ever went back to an electric wheel, I'd definitely get a standing wheel, so I'd be on my feet when I was using it. But this seems to be a great process for my posture, helping keep my shoulders back and my lower back straight as much as possible. The past few years, I focused more on posture, and I felt a lot better when making pottery. Let's see what the size is like. A little bit big, but that's okay. Even if the pots are a little too big or a little too small, I still keep all of them. Two mugs that just weren't up to quality. So I'm going to smush the clay up and make some cups out of them. Why do I pull the clay up and then smush it back down several times before forming a cup? It helps to compress the clay and reduce a type of cracking called S-cracks. Most potters don't work with this technique because that S-cracks, little cracks in the bottom of the underside of your pot, are common. So coning the clay up and compressing it back down helps to eliminate those types of cracks, or helps to reduce them. How much is an electric wheel? Google search it. Would wearing a back brace help? Maybe. I think posture is the best thing that you can do, is to focus on your body and staying in shape. anytime I have any pain, I try not to just buy a tool to eliminate it. I try to stretch or work out or adjust how I'm moving my body. I've ever gotten clay or glaze in my eye? I have, too many times to count. Do I travel and teach as well? Nope, I just make pottery. I'm a production potter. If I were traveling and teaching, I'd have to figure out a new way to make a living. I'd have to change the whole structure of how I make a living. Is this my full-time job? Yep, I'm a potter. So I figured out production pottery, how to make and sell enough pottery to make a living. And I'd have to change all that if I tried to teach for a living. But a lot of potters do that, but not me. What material is the wheel where I kick it? It's cement over a metal bearing system. It's called a York kick wheel, made by someone named Roger York, who made them decades ago. He's no longer making them. How many cups do I get with the 25 pounds? You'll see. I'll show you when I'm all done, but a lot. 20 something. The earth is flat? No, it's not. That's not a question. That's just a dumb statement. How can the pieces be purchased? Any of my two websites. The third website, CherricoPottery.com, is just for information for my blog. I'm working on a blog post about Vincent van Gogh. I've written about inspiration for the mug, written about why I use this kick wheel, different types of kick wheels. But the other sites, one's a subdomain, which is just basically a safe credit card processing. The other, CosmicMugs.com, is devoted to one type of art. What inspired me to get into pottery? One high school class and then more college classes. Tell me about the Starry Night over Rhone. I don't really know what else to tell you about it. I don't know that much about it. I just like it. It helps if you keep the questions kind of short. How did I decide that this is what I wanted to do for a living? I wrote all about that for the American Craft Council in 8 blog posts, like a series of blog posts called A Potter's Journey. You can find that on my website, on their website, but I outlined the whole process of how I did it. What classes I took in college, you know, how I figured out what people might be interested in buying. Do I have a kiln or I just leave them out to dry? You need to fire the pottery for it to change from clay to ceramic. So I have a kiln that heats 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit for each firing, for each glaze firing, to give the pots color and so they're dishwasher safe.
But the day keeps breaking until the cycle stops. We cannot escape it. Back in the car with the wheels on the pavement, lost and turned around, but it's all the same to me.
Broke the world record. What were the requirements? There were all kinds of requirements for the Guinness World Records title for pottery. I mean, I can't remember all of them, but it had to be a certain type of pot, a good-sized planter, and I was allowed to have help so I could take them off the wheel and other people could move the boards out of the way. I had to have a timekeeper, another timekeeper. So there were all kinds of requirements. That was in 2016. What's my first step in starting pottery? Google search, how do I start pottery? I don't know. Best, I always suggest take classes. And you'll just get more questions. Do I take special orders? Not right now. What causes crazing? That's a great question. Crazing is a type of crackle texture you'll see on glazes. You'll see it in machine-made work and handmade work. It's just the fit between the glaze and the clay, and it causes a crackle. And my understanding of crazing, you'd have to talk to a ceramics technician, but in the research I've done, and I've done a lot, every pot has crazing. Nearly every single pot. But you often can't see it because of the color of the glaze, or if it has very minimal crazing. But it's a crackle texture that's obvious on some pots, some glazes, more obvious than others. Sometimes you have to see it at the microscopic level. But the last research I did was actually, it was with a podcast with a ceramic technician from Alfred, which is kind of like Harvard, but for clay. It's like a really prestigious clay company, or clay school. And it was a ceramic technician who, he said that in his research, any pot that does not have a crackle glaze, that does not have crazing, is in danger of breakage because there's not, I think it was too much tension pulling on the clay and glaze as opposed to compression, which causes the crackle. And he said you want compression. If there's no crazing, it's a sign that the pot is probably not durable, or is going to have problems that cause it to dunce, that to crack vertically. So a little bit of crazing is a good thing, was the claim that he made. It's in the, you can listen to it, it's in the Tales of a Red Clay Rambler podcast. And it's a ceramic technician who talks about crazing. I don't remember what episode, but I think it was in the past few months. This one I think is too small. A little too small, but that's okay. Any other pottery questions? Out there in Yorkshire in the UK. Do I get tired of making the same cup so many times? Sure. But this is my job, so I feel honored to be able to make a living this way. Do I have to use a clen? It's called a kiln, K-I-L-N, to fire the pottery. And you don't paint the pots, you glaze them, which is kind of like paint, except it gets fired and turns into like a glassy, hard surface that's dishwasher safe. Why use a kick wheel over mechanical? Because it's just more fun. Favorite color for glazing? I like earth tones. I'm using a lot of blues lately, different shades of blue, super light to super dark and everything in between. Copper red glazes are a great pursuit if you have the means to make copper red glazes. I haven't made them for a few years, but I've written a lot of blog posts about copper red glazes.
Shivering, upsetting them, because it's cold. summer breeze is walking up the street. She says to me, here comes summer. The birds are singing in their new trees. It's all turning green. Here comes summer.
How long is the wet clay workable? I use it immediately, otherwise I wrap the clay in plastic and pause the process. What song is this? Something by the Gibby Hibbies, and you can find a link to their music in the title of the video. Oh. Is it common to get carpal tunnel in your profession? I've known potters to get it, but the potters that I follow and model my career after don't get it because they take care of their body. And they focus on ways to take care of their body. One of the most important ways to do that was told to me by Danny Messinger, a potter who's in his 60s, been making work for decades, and he said, as a potter, you have a responsibility to make artwork that's good enough where you can lower the quantity and raise the price. Otherwise, you're going to spend your whole life making $20 mugs, or the equivalent with inflation, and you're going to get carpal tunnel. So you have an obligation to lower the quantity and focus more on art, higher quality. And that'll help avoid things like carpal tunnel or back pain, shoulder pain, all kinds of things. When's my birthday? Coming up. Any other pottery questions? Touch my head for the music link. Is this my living or do I have other work? This is my living. Can I put your initials in a mug? No. Sorry. But every day people ask me to carve their name into a mug, and that's just not what I do. Do I have fun with this? Yeah. Am I adding handles to these? I will, probably tomorrow. Do I sell these pots? Yeah, I sell 95 to 99% of what I make. That's my job. My job, the way I pay rent, pay for my bills, and buy more clay is to make and sell pottery. Do I ever spin the other way? No, just occasionally for adjusting or pulling the clay on and off the wheel, but not making an entire pot. I don't think I could do that. It'd be extremely difficult. It'd be like a major league pitcher throwing, like a right-handed pitcher learning to throw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball left-handed. Like after they spent tens of thousands of hours learning their craft, reversing it. So I don't think I could do it. Maybe that's just an excuse and I should still try. I don't know. Any other pottery questions? Where did I get my wheel? I got it from the maker, Roger York, years ago when he was still making them, but he's no longer making them. It's called a York kick wheel. You'd have to make one or find someone to make it for you. He published the designs on the internet for free. He published his patent for the York kick wheel. Tone for bisque, 04. It's a hot bisque, 04. But if you wanted a wheel like this, Google search York, Y-O-R-K, York kick wheel. Why don't I put names on my mugs? Because people want to pay $20 for their name on a mug, and that's not art. And that's not good for the customer or the potter who is going to get carpal tunnel and the business is going to fail. So that's why I don't do it. What's my favorite thing to make? A variety. I like making all different types of pottery and sculpture as long as it's clay on the wheel. I love making just any types of different clay things twisted on a wheel. How do you sell them? Through our website. We built online stores and an email newsletter list. You'd love to serve your food on your own made china. Is it hard to learn the basics? Well, yeah, you're going to want to look at the definition of china because chinaware is not the same as pottery. But yeah, it's extremely difficult to learn. Am I self-taught? No. Does it come off your skin? Yeah, it comes off just like dirt from outside, just like mud. Why don't I put my name on mugs? Oh, if that was the question, it's because it's too long and cumbersome, so I came up with a signature to put on that looks better. Some potters use a stamp. I paint a signature. Do I ever get tired of it? Take a few days off? Yeah, all the time. How big will you go on pottery? I have a 4-foot tall jar. That'll be in. Oops, let's put some spiral in there. Sorry, I get caught up you talking. A 4-foot tall jar will be on display in St. Paul, Minnesota next week. Does pottery bring me places? Yeah, it brought me to New York City. Brought my girlfriend and I to New York City a couple months ago. Can you donate money to me? Thank you for asking, but the closest thing to that is Patreon, and we don't ask for any more than $5 a month. And that's only for people who really want to, you know, be part of an insider circle or it's like a fan club. But the best way to give money to an artist is to buy their art. Have I always done this, or have I had other jobs? I've had lots of other jobs. I had a lawn mowing business in high school. I worked at Olive Garden in high school. I worked at Taco Bell. I once made 10 tacos in 32 seconds. In college, I mixed clay for all 4 years. So that was great, because during college I got paid to do ceramics. I also made the top for this wheel. I worked in a wood shop for 3 months. But since college, I've worked as a full-time potter. How long did it take me to learn how to do this? 12 years. Do I get full profits for my work? I'm not really sure what that means, but yeah, I own 100% of this whole art business. How do you mix clay? We used what's called a Soldner mixer. Some people use a pug mill. We used a Soldner mixer, and that mixed it for me, and I pulled it out and smashed it into bricks in batches of about 300 pounds. I did that once a day, 5 days a week, something like that. But you basically take powdered material, which is like pulverized ground that's been crushed into a powder, and all the sticks and leaves and rocks have been sifted out. So you take those bags of dry powder and mix them with a certain proportion of water. This is about 25% water, 75% earth. And it's mixed perfectly so you can twist it on a pottery wheel. If it's too wet, it'll just be sludge, just slippy sludge. And if it's too dry, it'll be rock hard. It's got to be in that Goldilocks zone where it's just right. Is pottery a form of meditation for me? It can be. It can be, but meditation is not something that happens to you. It's something you do and let happen, make happen. Like I've spent time learning about meditation and learning how to meditate, and it definitely doesn't feel like meditation when I'm answering questions and making pottery. It takes a lot of concentration and focus, so it can be. But being silent helps if you want to treat pottery like meditation. It helps to not talk. Do I have anything in the kiln now? Nope, but I might put some pots in tomorrow. other pottery questions? Do I put vinegar in it? No, that would be stinky. Some potters use vinegar to attach handles, but I think that's not relevant. I think you can just time your drying better. How many average hours a day do I spend doing this? Depends on the day. Sometimes 0, sometimes 12. Today I'll spend maybe 3 or 4 hours. Yesterday I spent 3 or 4 hours. How many mugs do I make at a time? Usually between 20 and 40. But that's just the forming of the body of the coffee mug right now. So they still need to have the bottoms smoothed out and a design put in. They need to be, handles need to be pulled, then the handles need to be attached. And that's all before the first of 2 firings. There's a lot of random steps to pottery making. Do I ever teach classes? I don't. This is the closest thing I do to teaching, is to do Q&A during videos. How fast do I sell them? It's not really me selling them, it's people buying them. We make available whatever we have. Once a month, usually in one day, the cosmic mugs are gone. But there's other pots like cups and bowls that don't sell out, that just sit on the websites available anytime someone needs them, needs a gift or something. But the cosmic mugs have gotten popular. Okay, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22 mugs next to me on this board, and I'm out of space, so I'm going to lift the board up and move it. Is there anything else I make? Absolutely. Just check the title of the video. Does clay ever come in any color? Gray is a color. We shipped to Australia? Yeah, shipped a lot to Australia. Thanks for watching. Oops, better cut this one. Sometimes I forget. All that just to cut too close and leave a tiny little hole in the bottom. Smush if you get your wood for free, but the time it takes to fire a wood burning kiln and put all that wood in. You know, most wood firings that I participate in last 3 or 4 days. So you're firing for 3 or 4 days. And my electric kilns, I go up to the kiln and I go, boop. My electric fired pots are fired in an easy bake oven. I press a button and walk away, and the firing is done after that. Cone 5 or 6 or higher. I fired a cone 8 because I found that they're a bit more durable. So this is a cone 8 to 10 stoneware clay. Did I get any glaze recipes from Simon Leach? No, but I've heard of Simon Leach. I'm not sure if he's related to Bernard Leach. I think he's his grandson or great-grandson, but I really like Bernard Leach's book, A Potter's Book. But I haven't gotten any recipes from it. Maybe Leach White, if that traces back to him, but I don't really use that much anymore because I haven't been making many casserole dishes. Most of my glaze recipes were adapted customized from Phil Rogers and John Britt. They both wrote books too, so I customized my glazes based off their recipes. Do I paint? No. I brush pottery with glazes. That's the closest that I come to painting. spearheading my pieces blow up in the kiln, too many to count. The first few years of making pottery especially. Do kilns need a different outlet, like a welder or a clothes dryer? Yeah, it doesn't even have an outlet. It's hardwired into the wall. I had to pay an electrician a pretty penny and a case of beer for that. Does smacking the clay like that have a purpose? I think you're talking about the hand centering I was doing. Yeah, it homogenizes the clay so everything is roughly the same softness or dryness, and remove some of the air bubbles so I could put it back on the wheel and reform the pot. Sorry, it helps if you ask really short questions. If I hired employees, yeah, 5 part-time employees actually, who are doing pretty much all of the packing, shipping, and photography, which has been a huge help. And they're all student workers, so they're not full-time, they're all part-time. Any other pottery questions? Where would you be able to see my pots on display? In St. Paul, Minnesota. It's funny you ask because I'm attending the American Craft Council show in St. Paul next week. Not this weekend, but next weekend. And I'm gonna have some really, really big, brand new sculptures and pots. But that's an exclusive show. It's some high-end pieces and it costs to get in. But it's the right place for huge, crazy work. So I have some experimental sculptures and jars, and I'll be doing demos from the ACC. So next week. You're my employee. Your name is Thomas. You're not my employee. Do my legs get tired? No. Any other pottery questions? Are there different kinds of clays? Yeah, this is a stoneware clay. There's porcelain clays. Earthenware is typically fired at a lower temperature. Different color palettes, different durabilities, different feel on and off the wheel. Can I show my hand placement on the swirl? Sure. No, I don't speak French. All the websites are in the title of the videos. It's all muscle memory. So it's basically as I'm pressing from the inside out, I'm catching that as I press really quickly, I catch with my outside hand and I offset my fingers and slowly move out the wheel. The most important thing is the pace at which the wheel spins. Do I paint them? It's kind of like paint, except it's called glaze, because it gets fired in a kiln. It's made of different chemicals that get their color through heat, through chemical changing with heat. Can I make smoking pipes? Yes, I can, but I don't right now. I've made a lot in the past and even got honorable mention in local art shows for one of the pieces with them. Most difficult clay to form. A clay that you dug yourself with a shovel from nature. Those tend to be wild and a lot harder to figure out. Any other pottery questions? What's the stick with paper on it? It's a custom-built measuring tool. So I can try to make the pots the same height and width. too small. It's gonna be a small one. That's okay. welcome to the Tales of a Red Clay Rambler podcast. My name is Joel Cherrico, and I want to thank Ben Carter.
That was not supposed to be in there.
For the opportunity to sponsor the podcast as one of his Patreon sustaining members.
This is ad copy.
If you're a potter looking to grow your pottery business, then we have the perfect opportunity.
Sorry about that.
The American Craft Council and I
It'll pass in a second.
to give out
This is ad copy for Tales of a Red Clay Rambler.
Three winners will each get $5.
Not a planned commercial.
The deadline to apply is March 30th, 2018. To learn more,
sorry, this is embarrassing.
Visit cherricopottery.com/awards, and you can find this link in the show notes for this episode on talesofaredclayrambler.com.
That was ad copy for a podcast that I did. Ben Carter's gonna like the shout out though. I updated new songs on my iPod, and so it grabbed whatever was in my iTunes. Awkward. I think everyone gets embarrassed when they hear their own voice over like a recording. It just sounds weird. Great commercial voice. I don't know about that. Update my Kickstarter. I don't know. That's not since I haven't done that since 2015. Probably should update it. Sounded fine. Thank you. Why don't you just make one cup and then make a mold to cast many cups? Where do I start? Number one, that's not art. Number two, it's not easier. Slip casting is extremely difficult. But that is what you would want to do if you wanted to make tens of thousands of the same type of mug. You need people, you need a team, you need capital. Might as well just have them made over in China, where they're already doing that. I'm more interested in making handmade pottery and art. Why don't I use an electric wheel? Same reason. Come to Paris? Maybe someday. Sounds fun. Can I start singing? No. You want to be my apprentice? No. How did I learn to do pottery? College and one class in high school, mostly college. Do I reuse the sludge that I wipe off my hands? Yes. What's the name of the coffee shop that uses my mugs? The Local Blend in the town where I live. Localblend.net. Any other pottery questions? Do you make beer steins? Sometimes. I used to make a lot of them in college. Guess why? Am I still in a band? Yeah. Played last week. No, I don't have a good voice. I play guitar. Any other questions? Would I make a custom piece for someone? Depends. Probably not. I'm kind of taking a break from custom work, but it depends. The best way to request custom work from an artist is to find out what they, the artist, is most excited about making that fits their current body of work, and then make them a remarkable offer for something that fits what you need in your home. But most people just ask for you to make a $20 mug with their name carved in the side. That's not a good way to get something custom made for you. I'm really interested in sculpture, but none of those are custom made for anybody. Those are just following the aesthetics wherever they need to go.
What am I making? Cosmic mugs right now.
Where's the truth when it is from the word we
start my sculptures on the wheel or hand built? Both.
face through the days, unaware of the gazes I've missed. I'll face it down on the ground and follow you out there, so I can take another moment with you. So I can take another moment with you. The ages it took for the eight to stand up, and I'm bringing him back to lunch, twiddling my thumbs on the glass as you pass out of this room in disgust. I'll face it down on the ground and follow you out there, so I can take another moment with you. I can take another moment with you.
Flower vase. That's the last one. Any pottery questions?
I get about that. Keep trying, but I just can't clear my head. The minutes flying by. Keep trying to break that spider's web and stumble down the stairs. It's a struggle to breathe that morning air. The weather's on my mind. I'm wondering if you'll have
Does clay dry out your hands? Not really. What's my favorite glaze ingredients? Maybe copper. I've been using copper for a long time, but I like wood ashes too because you can take something from out of a fireplace and use it as glaze. I'd say either wood ashes, copper, or cobalt's pretty cool.
such a long time since I've seen you, my friend.
Any other pottery questions?
Where are you going and where have you been? It's been such
What do I cut them with? A wire. Wire that I dropped. Heavy duty wire. It's called Mud Tools is the company, I think. Any other pottery questions before I sign off? We're on YouTube, on Periscope, and my Facebook page on Cherrico Pottery. So if you like the videos, just subscribe. You'll see next one when I go live. Is cobalt liquid or powder? Cobalt is a type of metal, and I get it cobalt oxide in powdered form from Continental Clay Company. How much clay did all that take to make? I don't know, something like about 50 pounds tonight, 50 or 60. 22, 24, 26, 28, 32, 24, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 43 pots tonight.
and think about just how bad it. Where are you going?
Any other pottery questions?
And where have you been? It's been such a long time since
Are the bottoms scratchy if you don't glaze them? They're scratchy if you don't glaze and then sand them. Our startup course is expensive. I went to high school, so that's not expensive, but then I went to college, which is expensive to learn pottery. So the bottom of all my pots, it feels like sandpaper when it comes out of the kiln, so I sand it with 50 grit emery cloth and then 400 grit superfine sandpaper. So yeah, it can be really, really gritty when it comes out of the kiln, but it takes a lot of attention, a lot of sanding and polishing and inspecting when the pots come out of the kiln. Why do I double cut sometimes? I'm working on a YouTube video, and I'll put it on Facebook too, of why I double cut, like a quick cut video, not a live video. So that's gonna come out next. That's gonna come out pretty soon. When is my next live video? The schedule's always on Patreon. It takes minutes to make. It takes a couple more than minutes to make. It takes months. Ever take a day off from pottery? Yeah. Every weekend I usually take a day off from pottery, too. Sometimes in the middle of the week too. Any other pottery questions before I sign off? Would I recommend pottery? Would I recommend pottery as a job for someone coming out of high school? No, I recommend you take classes. I recommend you take as many classes as you can. Work an apprenticeship out of high school. I went to college for 4 years to learn how to set up my career as a full-time potter. It took another 7 years after that before it really started to be able to pay my bills. It's really tough to make a living as a potter. But people do it. People do it all over the world. Okay, well I think we better sign off. Thanks for watching, and hopefully catch you next time. If you want to see finished work, titles of the videos.
What it is, what it was, what it will be.
Thanks for watching. YouTube is the only platform that it's horizontal, so you actually get to see a little more of the work come off in the water jar. But if I should do anything different with these videos, let me know. I'm always open to suggestions. See you next time.